So I'm on my way to Monument Rock. It is a special rock out in the middle of the desert here by Vernal that has petroglyphs on it and interesting holes in the top. And we're going to go explore that and take a look at all the interesting features there. Anyway, it should be fun.
So how far off this road is it? Drive up there and look at it.
So Monument Rock is really just an extension of this ridgeline that is right in front of me here. However, this ridgeline, it dives into the ground right here and disappears. And Monument Rock is kind of a protrusion of that out of the normal spot, out of the normal place that it should be. And it's kind of it's a monument because it's in a strategic place to be a sign or billboard or an ancient marker. Anyway, we'll go see that in a minute. Well, this is about probably where I ought to park the car and walk. I made an agreement not to go four-wheeling with the car out in rough road, so I'll keep to that agreement until I can find me a better machine. Okay, there's Monument Rock off in the distance, and I'm walking along this dirt road, 2-track. It's not too bad right now, but it gets kind of worse. So here we are coming up on one of the, I don't know, just a tiny bit more gnarly road. Just kind of the rocks in the way, a little bit steeper, and yeah, just something I shouldn't be driving the car over. I don't want to have to be an episode on Matt's off-road recovery. But as you can see, it didn't last for very long, so now we're down into the sand. I guess that could be an issue too. Looks like there's a few ways we could pick to go. Yeah, I've really got to get me a Jeep or a 4-wheeler. Something. Pickup or SUV, something a little bit higher clearance than a car, something a little bit more rugged, so that I don't have to walk in from a mile or two away. I don't mind the walk. I used to do it all the time, everywhere I'd go. Walk for 10 miles or 15, or maybe if I'm really gutsy or up to it, 20, but and it becomes more grueling instead of enjoyable. I'm into kind of enjoying it out here. Anyway. We're getting closer. Almost there. There it is. So on one side, way down here, is the Green River, and rivers were a veritable freeway of traffic in ancient days, because there's no water here, and this grass and weeds and sand. But there is at the river, but generally speaking, not very many other places have water. So to live, you need to go up and down the river. And on the other side, whoops, on the other side is, well, let's start over again here. Okay, there's the Green River. And on the other side over here is Ashley Valley, where Vernal and Naples and all that are, way up in there. And so travelers coming up river would see this rock. It being kind of out of place, standing out from all of the rest of the hills around because its color and shape and angle. And so it'd be a perfect place to put like a big marker, sign, billboard, banner, whatever you call it. Whatever they did in ancient times, because there's evidence there that they did. And so, kind of like a territory marker, or maybe a tribute or tariff boundary. Anyway, political divisions, you know, all that kind of stuff. Over here at the base of this rock, there are some petroglyphs. Not very well defined, because they're in the wrong kind of rock formation. Needs to be a little bit different kind of rock, a little bit different sandstone. It needs to also be the south facing, so that the petroglyphs kind of stand out and show up in the patina. But we'll take a look at them here. I need to put my junk down. A water bottle and a tripod. Well, let's see. Okay. So here, let's look at this guy first. Pretty good fellow. He's got a hand right here, a hand right here. A fairly large head. He's got arms, and the torso is all pecked out. There's a buffalo or something here that's rode over the top of it. Anyway, kind of hard to tell. So much graffiti from current to ancient to in between. And here, let's look at this guy. This is a typical vernal classic style. It's got the triangle, the big head with the ears or the antlers or whatever you want to call them on his head. Kind of a stick arm. And then up above it, we got another one. This one's a lot rougher. It's not as detailed, not as careful. And that one is not as detailed or careful. And that one, a little bit better. Anyway, more graffiti, current days, and more graffiti and problems and artwork that's meant to be taken as authentic, but which is not. So the ancients didn't groove, they didn't scratch into the rock like this. They didn't groove it out. Very rarely did they do that. And most all of the time it's been pecked, such as this one here has been pecked, and it's been pecked out. But it also has grooves. Someone has tried to enhance the markings and the grooves in here, and so they've done that with metal instruments. This one here is very, very smooth. That's uncharacteristic of ancient. Of course, the grooves here are all etched in, scratched in, scratched in, scratched in everywhere. So a lot of people want to try their hand at it, and that's not a good thing, because that's against that's unethical. It's against the law. It's a federal crime. At any rate, there's a giant spiral there, just below those bullet holes. Starts here in the middle and spirals out. I don't know how well this phone is picking up, how well this camera is picking up the petroglyphs, but we're looking at them anyway. Let's go on this side, because I think there's some over here. Well, if there are, I don't see them right off the bat. Okay. Okay, well, I guess that's that. I wasn't going to really show this one because it's completely out of character for the vernal classic style typewriting. However, I thought I would show that here there's some horns on the top of his head, and just the general features of that one, but it's all completely smooth right here. Now one of the things that they did do is that the Indians used the solstice, the rocks as a solstice marker. And so let's say, for example, that this little bump right here is sticking out, it would cast a shadow, and it would cast a shadow over here somewhere at the sunset on the solstice, and that shadow would line up with a certain mark, you know, perhaps maybe these two or something like that. And at any rate, the solstice markings were very, very subtle. You would have to know that there was something there in order to be able to to at the solstice time to be able to see where the shadows were marking and what they were showing. But that's one of the things that very few people understand, and that by coming along and let's say you wanted to smooth this over to make it appear more vibrant or more visible, you may end up destroying a very subtle solstice marker that was indicating some important event or shadow description on the rock. Anyway, let's go around up on top and take a look, see what's there. This is a generally not natural. It's a ground out hole. It's kind of like a stepping hole. Anyway, that's what I used it for. And it looks like the local vandals have been here. These rocks, I think, are algae out of the lake or ocean bed. The little bumps on the rocks are the algae as it's frozen in rock. Kind of a neat little groove in that rock there. Trying to climb this rock with no hands because I'm carrying the phone and the tripod and my water. A little bit difficult, a little bit dangerous. Oh, there's a round hole cut in the rock. Right there. Oh, and there's another one. Right there. That one's bigger. That one's maybe 8 inches. And there's another one there. That one's smaller, maybe 4 inches, 3 inches. I have a small started one there. Some more here. That one and that one. And a little tiny one. And a ginormously big deep one. Looks like that one's about 8 inches. And another big one, same diameter, next to a smaller and a smaller. Okay, if I was really with it, and I might do this again someday, might do it again sometime soon. There's one over here too, missed that one. But take a GPS, and I've got a good GPS to do this with, but map each of these holes and their orientation and see where they'd line up to where if you put a triangle or a cross network of poles here, what kind of a structure you'd end up with, what kind of a billboard looking thing would you have sticking up here on the side of this mountain, on the side of this hill, on Monument Rock, looking down there to the Green River, being a big tall rock with tall flag monuments up on the top, or at least on the south slope of it here. Guess we can look up on top and see if there's anything up there, but I think this is where the holes are that they used to put their poles in, that held up their banners or their billboard or their flags or signs or whatever. There is one kind of small hole there. Some really rather small divots. I don't think they're deep enough to hold anything, but there's a few there anyway. 4 kind of in a grouping, and just a little divot here and there at the top that really didn't do much. So I think up here the wind would have got the best of their flag and tipped it over. There's a big hole here I missed with 3 little holes next to it. And you're right, that one could have held a fairly good sized pole up in the air, and there's another one here that I missed. That one's pretty deep. And so at any rate, it would have, those two, let's see, those two, right along there, and if they had poles sticking way up in the air here, they would have shown facing the river, which is my hypothesis that this is the Monument Rock, and billboard rock, or signpost, or whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, can't think of anything else to say right at the moment, so I guess I'll turn it off for a bit. One other thing I needed to talk about is these marker rocks that have been stacked around were not there, at least I don't remember them being there when I first saw these holes and came here. So as far as I recall, it was just the big holes. The marker rocks have been carted in here to probably mark it for drone pictures or something, I don't know. Which reminds me, that'd probably be a good thing to do. Fly a drone around here and take pictures of all this stuff, because I'm sure there's more things that I'm missing. There's a little divot there, but nothing. So the little divots that don't go very deep, I think, might have been candle holes. I've seen evidence of that in 9 Mile Canyon, other places where they will they'll have little divot holes, and inside the divot holes they'd put candles, and they'd have a row of these divot holes where the candles would be lit. At any rate, kind of all conjecture at this point, but that's my conjecture then. That's my hypothesis until I change it. Okay. Missing stuff right and left here. So there's this big hole at the top with the marker rocks around it. Over here in the dirt, I walked right past this one and didn't see it. Anyway, it's dug down and it's filled up with dirt right now because it's in the crack where the water flows, and it's filled it up with dirt. And then there's that third one there, and so those two facing the river with the third one right directly behind it to reinforce and to support it from being blown over. Anyway, yet more stuff. Okay, so here we are on the second level, and there's these two big holes here with, I don't know, kind of a network of smaller holes around them, and if you go down the rock face, two more here, two small holes, and another bigger one here. I expect there'll be a second large one somewhere. I just don't know where that it would be. It's probably hid in this jumble of mess. But there's other smaller holes that have been cut into the rock on down the rock face here. And it's getting kind of steep, so I don't see any more on down that way. But there are these two here. And we'll go around the corner and pick up my tripod and not get whacked by it. Kind of appears to be a stack of rocks here, kind of like a little rock wall, maybe. Not very well defined, but kind of. I would suppose that if the walls around Jerusalem could be pulled down and those big stones thrown down, that could happen here. And there's a fairly good rock wall foundation here. It's not a complete one, but at least it's evidence that they put a rock wall around that little hole. And maybe, I don't know if they were small enough to crawl into that little hole, take a nap. It's kind of what it looks like. Anyway, I don't trust anything like these, for example, to be ancient. I think all of that is definitely somebody else's interpretation of where the rocks should be. Anyway, that's a monument rock. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a pretty hot day out. Makes me kind of wish I was small enough to crawl into that crack, take a nap. Monument Rock. Now there's Monument Rock way out there. I don't know. I'm not really superstitious, but it's 105 degrees out there. Scary numbers on the odometer. Woo! Hot stuff.